Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you again for joining this masterclass session on AI in financial inclusion, tools for smarter decision making. I'm sure you are excited to join this masterclass session. My name is Shemezie. I'm a program officer here at the Tony Olumelu Foundation. All our entrepreneurs all across Africa, thank you so much for joining this masterclass session. Rashidat, over to you, please.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you're joining us from. And Chimizi, thank you for the introduction. We're very excited to have everyone here this evening. This afternoon for another session. Last week we looked at the topic that says how to use AI to drive growth in startup and SMEs. So today we'll be diving into AI in financial inclusion and tools we need to use to make smarter decisions. And to take us through this session is Mr. Edward. And Mr. Edward is the head business intelligence and visualization at Access Bank Nigeria. At Access Bank Nigeria, where he drives data-driven information decisions through innovation, analytics solution. And he has previously led the insight analysis at First Bank Nigeria and held multiple roles at Octave Analysis Insights Limited, where he served as both senior data analyst, manager of the data engineering team. And with over a decade of experience, Mr. Edward has built a strong track record of delivering impactful data analysis projects across academics and private sectors environment. Is a versatile interdisciplinary researcher known for leading transformative initiatives for major commercial banks in Nigeria. And his area of expertise includes data science, analytics, customer values, customer management, data engineering, business intelligence, and so on. He has also grown portfolio in developing agentic AI, both autonomous intelligent system that's capable of making decisions and executing tasks independently. His work also reflects a forward-thinking approach to artificial intelligence and his integration into enterprise workflow. This afternoon, join me in welcoming Mr. Edward Odayemi as he take us through this amazing session. Over to you, Foko.
Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue une fois de plus à cette masterclass, la énième du genre. Cette masterclass, aujourd'hui, nous allons voir l'intelligence financière, l'intelligence artificielle en inclusion financière. Nous allons voir les outils pour la prise de décision, pour des décisions plus intelligentes. Et ça sera fait par Edouard Olayemi. Ce que vous devez savoir, c'est que Edouard Olayemi est un expert en intelligence financière, en intelligence d'affaires, qui a eu à travailler à Access Bank au Nigeria, où il a eu à conduire le département des informations, des données, et qui permettait de prendre des décisions pour l'innovation en termes de solutions et des analyses. Il a aussi été à la First Bank, toujours au Nigeria, où il a eu plusieurs rôles. En l'occurrence, il a travaillé dans l'analyse de Octave et Insight Limited. Il a aussi eu à servir comme senior dans l'analyse des données. Il faut dire qu'il est aussi depuis une dizaine d'années, avec une dizaine d'années d'expérience, il a des, des faits d'âme en termes de livraison des données dans des projets d'analyse de données à fort impact et surtout dans le monde académique et le secteur privé. Donc, il est interdisciplinaire et chercheur dans le domaine de la transformation des grosses banques commerciales au Nigeria. Donc, il a eu à intervenir dans les banques commerciales au Nigeria. Donc, son expertise va au-delà des sciences de données, l'analyse, la valeur client, la gestion de la valeur client l'ingénierie des données, l'intelligence des affaires et l'architecture du cloud. Donc, Edouard a aussi un portefeuille très croissant où il a eu à développer l'intelligence financière d'agence qu'on a eu à voir, d'autonomie et aussi des systèmes d'intelligence capables de prendre des décisions et de les exécuter de façon indépendante. Donc, voilà celui qui va aujourd'hui nous accompagner pour cette belle aventure et ce nouvel masterclass sur l'inclusion financière. Comment est-ce que l'intelligence artificielle peut aider en cela? Donc, merci. Over to you, Edwards.
All right. Good afternoon and good day, everyone. And please, can you confirm, everyone, I'm audible and everybody can see my screen?
Very
Yes, you
good.
are. Yes.
Yeah, fine. Okay. All right. So once again, good day, everyone, and thank you for joining this wonderful session where we'll be talking about AI in financial inclusion, and we'll be deeping dive into AI as a tool for smarter decision making. And I want us to keep something at the back of our mind that every entrepreneur, every business, everybody, we are faced with hundreds of decisions every day. We want to take decisions, we want to take the most profitable decisions, we want to reduce costs. So, yes, every day, every business person has a decision to be made every day. So now we will be talking into how AI can help us simplify decision making, and we'll be talking to some use case of how AI can help us, right? Okay, so I'm just going to give the first introduction, right? And I think this is not new to tell us that Africa is the fastest growing digital and mobile economy, right? So we have that tells us that there are lot of opportunities are within the continent of Africa, whereby entrepreneurs can maximize to make their business, move their business from where it is to where it should be. And also keeping in mind that every one of us on this call, right, especially entrepreneurs, people that think like, okay, let's create a business, let's create a solution. I want to tell us that we are the key financial drivers on this continent. We are the key person. We are the people making things work. And also, I want us to keep this at the back of our mind that AI is not just a big tech, right? It is accessible to startup, right, and SME. So you don't think as AI as something built by the almighty Google, Microsoft, and the big tech. So if you're thinking, okay, am I sure I'm going to I can leverage AI for decision making? No, AI is not a big tech. It is something available for us. It's just a function of we analyzing data for some level of informed decision. And also, I want to keep something. One of the purposes is to show us how AI can help us build build a scalable and inclusive profitable venture, right? So I know we are building something, right? And at the end of the day, we want to ensure that it can scale. So maybe you have a shop and you are looking for how data can help you, how AI can help you drive scalability, how you can be inclusive, and at the end of the day, how you can have a profitable venture. And that is what we'll be talking about today. Foku, over to you.
OK, thank you, Edwards. Donc, vous devez savoir qu'au quotidien, les entrepreneurs doivent prendre des milliers de décisions. Et pour cela, il est important de comprendre en quoi est-ce que l'intelligence artificielle peut aider dans la prise de ces décisions financières, je voulais dire. Donc, aujourd'hui, nous allons partager sur les outils pour que ces décisions soient plus intelligentes. En introduction, nous allons déjà comprendre pourquoi est-ce que cette problématique est importante maintenant. Vous devez savoir que l'Afrique a une forte croissance dans le domaine digital et de l'économie mobile. Ça, vous devez le savoir et c'est assez connu. Donc, l'autre chose, c'est que ce sont les entrepreneurs qui sont les principaux conducteurs de l'innovation financière en Afrique et dans le monde d'ailleurs. Et aussi que l'intelligence artificielle n'est pas uniquement une affaire de grosses entreprises de technologie. Non, c'est accessible aux startups et aux PME. Et c'est ce que nous allons découvrir aujourd'hui. Donc, l'autre chose aussi, c'est que l'intelligence artificielle peut aider à construire à construire des entreprises scalables, c'est-à-dire des entreprises qui peuvent du jour au lendemain exploser de façon exponentielle, et que c'est aussi inclusif et profitable pour les entreprises. Donc, il est question pour vous, entrepreneurs, de vous approprier véritablement l'intelligence artificielle comme un outil qui peut permettre de prendre des décisions intelligentes. Over to you.
Thank you. All right. So like I mentioned, right, during our introduction, and that is making us understand the power we carry as an entrepreneur and how we can add value, how we are adding value to our different countries. So I was just trying to build into or drill down to a case study of Nigeria, whereby keeping in mind that the MSME represent over 80% of the businesses in Nigeria. Yet we are facing some challenges in accessing credit, right? And and keeping in mind that all the presentation today will be revolving around how AI can be used to drive financial inclusion. But we have some challenges, and that is the challenge of one, MSMEs. We currently don't have access to all this. We are not financially included. And the reason we are not financially included is because we are not leveraging AI, right? And a lot of people are still left out. So we'll be talking about how we can make everybody inclusive. And at the end of the day, how AI can empower us to make some sort of smarter decision. So I would just like to take one extra slide. And the other thing I want us to understand is some definition of terms, right? So what do we call by financial inclusion, right? Because everything, keeping in mind, I know there's a root word called inclusion, that is being included in a set of probably in a particular set, right? And that is, in terms of the financial part, is access to affordable and useful financial services, right? So that is the definition. So we are looking at a platform, or probably we are looking at a topic whereby every one of us, right, we are financially included in the financial space of our country, right? And for Nigeria, as I mentioned earlier, 60% of adults in Nigeria are financially included, but we still have a lot of adults in Nigeria that are still financially excluded. So these are potentials for entrepreneurs to look into, and with that, getting the right data, understanding people that are still financially excluded, we can build solutions that will make the entire country, right, financially inclusive, such that we have financial services products across the country. And though I know we still have some barriers, right, especially from entrepreneurial, and like lack of collateral to loan, we still have issues around limited financial literacy, and there's still things around high transaction costs. I know these are things that have been creating barrier and also impacting the daily decisions we make. But as we move on into this session, right, we'll be talking into what are things we can do. We'll talk about some strategies to break all this barrier. Thank you. Foku, over to you.
OK, thank you. Donc, pour commencer, nous allons déjà devoir comprendre ce que c'est que l'inclusion financière. Donc, vous savez que le système financier évolue très rapidement. Et pour cela, avoir l'inclusion est très important. C'est un élément très clé. Et l'information que je vous donne, c'est qu'au Nigeria, par exemple, 80% des entreprises, non, les petites et moyennes entreprises représentent 80% des entreprises. Et en conséquence, elles n'ont pas accès au crédit, à l'épargne et à l'assurance. C'est vraiment un défi que ces entreprises ont. Et l'intelligence artificielle peut permettre, donc, ce format d'intelligence artificielle peut permettre à ces entrepreneurs-là de pouvoir être inclusif en ce qui est les services bancaires. Donc, c'est pour ça qu'il est important pour vous, next please, c'est pour ça qu'il est important pour vous de bien comprendre ce que c'est que l'inclusion financière. Donc, la définition est simple. C'est un accès aisé aux services financiers, comme le crédit, l'épargne, l'assurance et les paiements. Et la réalité au Nigeria, c'est que 60% des adultes sont dans l'inclusion financière et 40% sont exclus du monde de la finance. c'est par exemple les femmes et surtout les gens qui sont dans le monde rural, les personnes du monde rural. Ceci fait que donc on observe des barrières pour les PME en termes d'inclusion financière. Donc on a par exemple comme barrière le manque de garanties pour les prêts, les limites dans l'éducation financière, le coût élevé des transactions financières et surtout le manque de confiance qu'il y a entre les petites entreprises et les institutions financières. Over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Foko. So now we'll be talking to why it matters, right? And why AI really matters, right? And especially for our decision making. So the interesting thing about the world of AI is that it can enable us process large volume of financial and behavioral data, right? So I know some of us, right? Some of us keep some little data, right, around probably our transaction customer behavior. So, but with AI, we can analyze it. We can analyze it across different dimensions, different domains to get the best insight. So AI gave us the capability. It has given us the methodology and the process to analyze some level of big data, right? Some large amount of data. And another thing is that it also helps to create some personalized financial products. And one thing about with my experience in the financial space is that every customer, every segment of customers, they like some sort of personalized product, right? I want to give an example of this online video streaming. I know we have a lot of online video streaming applications, like the YouTube we are streaming this presentation from. You discover that there's some sort of personalized videos that is being recommended to you, right? So with AI, so you can engage your customers, you can engage some clusters of customers with some level of personalized financial product. And it's going to help you take some good decisions about how best to cross-sell, how best to upsell. And at the end of the day, you are going to be increasing the margin of the profit margin you're currently earning from customers. And another thing is that with AI, you can get some real-time decision making, right? And I think that is one of the most interesting thing, probably the highest level, one of the level of maturity, right? Every entrepreneur should get to. You don't make a decision at what happened yesterday. So it is always best you make decision on the fly, right? When the issues are happening, when the actions are needed, right? Before the customer leaves you, before the customer has an alternate option, you make that decision in near real time. And that is why AI really matters, right? To help us make that decision near real time. Another thing is that it's also going to help us to reduce fraud and risk, right? Most of the things that buy into or that bite into our profitability, our next profit is fraud and a lot of risk that we engage in. What if you have AI to take the decision with you and such that the risk is well minimized and you take the right decision at the right time for the highest profit margin, right? So that is that. So Foco, over to you.
OK, thank you, Edouard. Donc maintenant, nous allons voir pourquoi est-ce que l'intelligence artificielle compte. L'intelligence artificielle compte parce que, généralement, dans les entreprises, vous avez de larges volumes d'informations et l'intelligence artificielle vous permet de gérer cela facilement. Quelle que soit la taille des informations, l'intelligence artificielle vous permet de gérer facilement et aussi automatiquement. Donc, il y a aussi le fait que l'intelligence artificielle peut vous permettre de personnaliser vos produits financiers. C'est-à-dire quoi? C'est-à-dire que lorsque vous avez bien programmé votre intelligence artificielle et le fait qu'il y ait un large volume d'informations, l'information financière, l'information comptable, vous avez la latitude à travers la programmation de personnaliser afin d'avoir exactement les informations dont vous avez besoin à l'heure que vous voulez, afin de pouvoir prendre la décision. Donc, en somme, l'intelligence artificielle permet de rendre disponible l'information qui vous permet de prendre des décisions assez rapidement et de façon optimale. Et au niveau des risques, l'intelligence artificielle peut aussi vous aider à réduire la fraude dans votre entreprise et surtout à réduire les risques parce que cela vous aurez très tôt donné l'information nécessaire. Vous ne serez pas toujours mis sur les faits accomplis. Vous aurez par exemple prévu des alertes Au cas où il y a quelque chose qui se passe mal en fonction de votre activité, l'intelligence artificielle peut vous être fortement utile là-dessus. Over to you.
All right. Thank you. All right. So another thing is we need to look into the benefit of AI for financial inclusion, right? And especially for we entrepreneurs, right? And that is one of the major things is access to credit for SMEs and individuals, right? So with financial inclusion, right, you can build products, you can build services that would enable individual have access to credit, right? And so when we get to one of our slides, I'm going to explain some practical use case of how I've engaged these, right? Another thing is that for level of financial inclusion as entrepreneur, you need to do leverage what we call enhanced customer support. And do you know now we are in the world of whereby you have AI agents, right? That you can integrate to, let's say, your everyday application, like say WhatsApp, that can help you engage your customers, follow up on customers and the likes, right? So whereby you have your enhanced customer experience with 24/7 support, AI can help you get this done. And do you know what this is going to give you is that it's going to increase the level of customer satisfaction and the rate at which customers can easily refer your products, right? And with AI, because with AI, you'll be able to reduce some sort of noise around your data. At the end of the day, you'll be boosting what we call the trust and the security in your system. And also keeping in mind, right? You can build into the framework of any of the AI solution you are building such that it supports regulators and with better insight. This would help us to be compliant and at the end of the day, we will not be breaching any regulatory policies that would lead into fines or sanction. Coco, over to you.
Oui, nous allons voir quelques bénéfices de l'intelligence artificielle, que l'intelligence artificielle peut permettre d'avoir dans l'inclusion financière. Donc, par exemple, l'intelligence artificielle peut permettre d'étendre votre accès au crédit. Donc, ça permet d'étendre l'accès au crédit pour les petites et moyennes entreprises et surtout pour les individus. Ça peut aussi permettre d'améliorer le service client en mettant, par exemple, un support 24 heures sur 7. Donc, c'est-à-dire tous les jours, durant toute la semaine. L'intelligence artificielle peut aussi permettre de booster la confiance. Parce que quand vous avez un système sécurisé, il va de soi que vos partenaires, vos parties prenantes auront plus confiance en vous parce qu'ils sont sûrs de ce qui va sortir de votre système. Et pour cela, l'intelligence artificielle est à votre service pour vous aider. Vous pouvez par exemple créer une intelligence artificielle d'agence afin d'automatiser toutes les tâches que vous faites régulièrement et même permettre à vos partenaires de s'intégrer dans votre système. Enfin, l'intelligence artificielle peut aussi, en termes de support avec le régulateur, permettre que vous puissiez donner au régulateur de votre secteur des informations plus fiables qui puissent représenter votre entreprise. Over to you, Edouard.
All right. So the next interesting part of this is the AI use case for financial inclusion, right? And I like this part, and because this is where we now think outside the box and look into how we can use AI to make some informed decision, right? And and the first one I have here is AI credit scoring without collateral. So you keep in mind that regular banking system before you go request for facility or for a loan, right? Yes, they will check your credit worthiness. They check some collateral. Do you have collateral on this? What do you have that you can use to pay? But keep in mind that in the world of AI and leveraging the world of data, we can build a credit scoring algorithm or credit scoring model that would be independent of collateral. Many people doesn't have the collateral, and like I mentioned, some of the challenges we face is that data, right? Because some people are not financially included, right? Some people, they don't have some financial digital footprint. Yes, we want them to be inclusive, want to take decision on how can we onboard these people, how can we include everybody, build solutions that will include everybody into the financial space, right? And that's where we talk about one of the solutions, right? A use case is this credit scoring without collateral. There was a time I was working with some teams of young guys, and there was something we are thinking outside the box on. We are thinking about using social network as a collateral, right? So we've got into a space where we can build solutions, leveraging AI without collateral. And with this, we are going to this is going to help us increase the domain or probably the coverage of financial services, and with this we'll be able to give financial services to the underserved in the country. Another thing is that, which I mentioned, I'm just going to speak about this briefly, and which I mentioned earlier, whereby you have some chatbots that can, or virtual assistants that can help you engage your customers in real time, and this is going to help customers interact with you as an entrepreneur in a more seamless way. And now we can also train um, some chatbots in local languages, and this will help us to communicate and expand the space of financial services in our countries, right? And also fraud detection and security, whereby you have AI monitors that are monitoring transactions in real time, right? So I know this happens. I know I've seen a lot of solutions that does this. So we as an entrepreneurs too that want to take decisions, some critical decisions, it's going to be good we leverage this word of fraud detection, and such that when we all transactions coming into our system, they are well monitored, and we are confident about the level of security. I mentioned earlier personalized financial products. These are also major things, right? Whereby you build some level of personalized recommended product for each of the customers across different businesses, starting from savings plan to micro insurance, and also some small ticket investment. And I'll just take this extra slide, and that is some tools for driving financial inclusion, and which is one of the major one is machine learning, right? During my introduction, I mentioned something about AI is not that big tech, right? AI is something that we have around us. So when I mentioned machine learning, some people might think, oh, it's something very big. Probably I don't have the skill set. But do you know your basic regression analysis, right? Is a sort of model that you can enhance for some decision making, right? Another tool which we can use is natural language processing. The other time we mentioned about chatbots that can help interact with our customers in our local languages. So NLP is another tool that we can leverage, and also predictive analytics, understanding what my customer would want, understanding inventory level, understanding when I should stock up a product, understanding the customers I should engage, and also uh, fraud detection, which is also going to help us minimize the risk and also securing all our transactions. Thank you. Foko, over to you.
OK, thank you, Edward. Donc, nous allons voir quelques cas d'utilisation de l'intelligence artificielle en inclusion financière. On va commencer par le cas d'un système de notation comme garantie. Donc, ça permet que les entreprises qui n'ont pas de garantie, on peut, à partir de l'intelligence artificielle, créer un système de suivi de leur historique, de leurs transactions, afin de pouvoir comprendre leur fonctionnement, et ça peut leur servir de garantie. Donc, dans l'exemple qu'on a pris, c'est un exemple de microcrédit pour femmes où on a mis au devant l'analyse de leurs opérations dans les points de vente. Donc, voilà un système que l'intelligence artificielle peut aider à mettre en place à travers un système de notation. Le deuxième cas d'utilisation, c'est les répondeurs automatiques, ce qu'on appelle les chatbots. Le répondeur automatique qui est un assistant virtuel. Quand vous mettez en place une intelligence artificielle qui peut répondre 24 heures sur 7 jours à vos clients en anglais, en français, en langue locale. Donc, bon, quel que soit le langage que va utiliser le client pour faire une requête, l'intelligence artificielle est capable de lui répondre. Donc, voilà aussi un exemple d'application qui permet de comprendre en quoi est-ce que une petite entreprise ou une start-up peut utiliser l'intelligence artificielle pour pouvoir mieux s'exprimer. Donc, ça peut aussi aider dans l'analyse des crédits afin de pouvoir faire afin de sortir des produits financiers pour les clients lorsqu'on a analysé leurs différentes complaintes ou les questions qui reviennent le plus souvent. La troisième application, c'est dans la fraude, la détection de la fraude et de la sécurité. Donc ici, l'intelligence artificielle peut permettre de mettre en place des systèmes de monitoring, des contrôleurs de ce qui se passe dans une entreprise afin de pouvoir, ou bien dans des opérations, afin de pouvoir détecter quels sont les comportements bizarres ou les comportements suspicieux. Ça permet donc que l'intelligence artificielle, quand il détecte ça, il signale directement. Quand il y a une opération est récurrente, l'intelligence artificielle peut détecter que ça, c'est une fraude. C'est peut-être pas l'homme qui le fait, c'est une machine, c'est un virus. Voilà en quoi l'intelligence artificielle peut servir. Et en conséquence, ça permet de réduire le coût de la fraude dans les petites et moyennes entreprises. Donc, pour finir, au niveau de non, ok. Au niveau de la personnalisation des produits financiers, l'intelligence artificielle peut donc recommander des plans de micro-assurance, peut recommander des plans d'investissement, des plans d'épargne. Bref, ça analyse vos opérations et ça fait des propositions. Next, please. Donc, nous avons aussi quelques outils d'inclusion financière que l'intelligence artificielle met à notre disposition. On a par exemple l'apprentissage automatique. La technique d'apprentissage automatique peut permettre justement, ça peut servir d'alternative à l'analyse des scores, donc des crédits et de la notation des crédits. On a aussi l'apprentissage de langage naturel. Ce sont toujours des techniques. C'est avec ça qu'on fait les assistants virtuels et qu'on permet à ces assistants virtuels de parler plusieurs langues, quelle que soit la langue que l'interlocuteur va envoyer, le chatbot peut répondre en orientant afin que le client qui se plaint ou qui a fait une requête puisse comprendre. On a aussi les analyses prédictives comme par exemple les prêts qui sont liés à, à la prévision. C'est-à-dire que l'intelligence artificielle peut analyser vos opérations et recommander à la banque quel est le montant de prêt qu'on peut vous donner. On le voit par exemple dans le mobile money. Il y a des petits programmes de mobile money qui vous proposent jusqu'à combien est-ce qu'on peut vous faire un microcrédit. Ça dépend des clients. Ça, c'est la prédiction. Et pour finir, la détection de fraude. Donc, les systèmes de détection de fraude permettent effectivement de sécuriser les transactions dans les mobiles, dans les téléphones mobiles et les transactions mobiles. Parce que quand vous faites des opérations qui semblent bizarres, l'intelligence artificielle a cette capacité-là de détecter et de signaler à l'opérateur. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Focal. All right, so the next thing we'll be speaking to is next on our slide is building smarter business with AI, right? I think I've mentioned there are some words I keep repeating, right? And I think I've mentioned AI WhatsApp bots, whereby for customer support. But there's one thing which I want us to keep in mind, especially as entrepreneurial, right? One of the major pillars we need to keep in mind is we need to keep digital record because if before you start thinking about AI, before you start talking about you want to make smarter decisions, you want to build some models, you are building use cases around credit scoring, you are building use cases around fraud detections and the likes, right? You need to first keep in mind the ability to collect digital footprint, right? So if you don't have probably if you're trying to penetrate an underserved population, the first thing you need to think is that how can you create a digital footprint, indirect digital footprint for them, such that you can use that to collect their data. Well, let me also put it this way. It might not be digital, right? It might be an hybrid system, but the major thing is that your ability to find a way to collect information, collect data from them that would enable you to make that decision, train that your model, and enhance that your process. And that is one of the major things. That is what we call the collection and the organization of your data, right? And for your day-to-day activity too, so you need to keep in mind to keep all your daily activity. So the first use case, or probably the first example I made, is you collecting data from your customers, right? From other people around you, for your target customers, right? The second part is you as a business owner, you need to keep all your record. And I think this is your 100% responsibility to take care of, to collect your data and ensure you can keep track of it for future analysis, right? And there are some opportunities for entrepreneurs, right? And one of the opportunities we have as an entrepreneur is that ability to embed AI in our business, right? So you have day-to-day activities, you want to take that decision, right? So one thing you need to keep in mind is your ability to embed AI into your business, right? So I want all of us to start thinking, maybe we'll drop it on the chat. You now need to start thinking, how can I embed AI in my day-to-day activities, regardless of the business you have, regardless of the business, just think, what can AI help you to do? How can AI help you automate your process, right? So you now need to start thinking around that. And one of the low-hanging things that AI can help you do, which I've mentioned, is automated support, right? So sometimes we have a lot of customers, and most of the time we don't keep track of the last time they visited us. We don't keep track of some little information about our customers. One of you set up a bot, right? Set up some sort of AI system that can help you engage your customer, provide support, give feedbacks when customers are trying to acquire or probably make some product inquiry. Why don't you leverage the likes of LLM to build a very minimal bot that can help you engage your customers, provide customer support to your customers, and also predictive pricing. So I believe that this is something all of us can incorporate into our day-to-day activity, because sometimes we have price fluctuation. So how can you predict that? Okay, in the next 2 months, there's going to be a drop in price, or probably there's going to be an increase in price. How best can I shift my pricing models? So another opportunities for us is that we can partner with fintechs, right? So there are a lot of APIs available, payments APIs available, right? So I know every country has some payment system, payment gateway, such that you can call in the payment gateway for customers, so that it will enable seamless financial transaction between you and your customers, right? So let's take it into all these things too, because these are opportunities we all have as an entrepreneur. And also you can also in the world of open banking, right, whereby you can leverage the credit scoring APIs that's available, and this is also going to help your models, and it's going to help you make some good informed decisions. Another thing, as an entrepreneurial opportunities for us, is that, see, we have a lot of free resource everywhere, right? I see a lot of organizations rolling out free certifications on AI and the like. So we have that at the palm of our finger. Knowledge is there for us to upskill ourselves, and like what we're currently doing now. So let me just take one extra slide, and that is currently now we are seeing banks and fintechs supporting financial inclusion. So I want us to see it in this slide as an entrepreneur, right? So keep in mind that you are not alone, right? You are not alone in this. You want to make that inclusive decision, or you want to build that product that is going to enable financial inclusion. You are not alone. We have banks. Most banks are building products, right? So there are a lot of banks are already building AI-driven loan approvals, right? With no collateral. With this, you can leverage existing solutions by fintechs, by banks, to build your own also solutions, and also enable you to scale a bit faster, right? There are digital KYC now. So I think there's a fintech in Nigeria whereby before you authenticate, it asks you to open your camera, you authenticate with your camera. So all these things are readily available. So I think these are things that is going to make financial inclusion or increase the penetration of financial inclusion. And as an entrepreneur, right, partnership program is going to go a long way for us, right, to scale, to take some decisions, and to increase the penetration of financial literacy, or probably financial penetration in our country. Thank you. Foku, over to you.
OK, thank you, Edward. Donc, OK. Donc, l'intelligence artificielle peut permettre de créer des affaires intelligentes. Et pour cela, on vous recommande un minimum deux choses. Un système de collecte et d'organisation de vos données. Donc, il est question pour vous de toujours digitaliser vos données, les enregistrer sur un plan numérique, que ce soit les ventes, que ce soit les dépenses, que ce soit les informations sur les clients. Il est important qu'au sein de votre entreprise, de façon minimale, que ce soit des choses digitales. Quand vous avez un document, vous le scannez. Quand vous avez tout ce qui n'est pas numérique, apprenez à scanner et rendre numérique afin de conserver plus facilement. Donc voilà quelque chose qui peut rendre votre business intelligent. L'autre chose aussi, c'est d'utiliser des applications de tous les jours de façon très simpliste. Comme par exemple WhatsApp. WhatsApp permet de faire des intelligences artificielles, des bots, pour pouvoir gérer votre service client. Donc, en faisant une petite programmation sur WhatsApp ou en appuyant des petits modules, ça vous permet d'interagir. Ça peut être les réponses automatiques, ça peut être des réponses en cas d'absence et ainsi de suite. Donc, voilà des choses qui rendent votre entreprise intelligente. Next, please. Donc, l'autre aspect, c'est quelques opportunités que les entrepreneurs ont. Les petites, ceux qui sont propriétaires des petites entreprises, des PME, en occurrence, trois opportunités. La première opportunité, c'est d'utiliser l'intelligence artificielle dans votre affaire. Vous devez impliquer l'intelligence artificielle dans votre business en offrant, par exemple, des petits services automatiques qui peuvent permettre, par exemple, de faire le service client, on y revient plusieurs fois, ou bien des petits programmes qui permettent de générer de façon prédictive les prix que vous devez appliquer à un client ou à un individu. C'est le cas, par exemple, toujours dans les services des opérateurs mobiles. Généralement, la façon de tarifer dépend du client. Donc, ça, c'est des choses qui sont faciles à faire. Il suffit pour vous d'avoir la volonté de le faire. La deuxième chose, la deuxième opportunité, c'est de faire des partenariats avec des entreprises de finances technologiques qu'on appelle les fintech. Bon, ceux-ci, par exemple, peuvent vous donner accès à des API pour les paiements, pour les notations de crédit et surtout pour la connaissance de votre clientèle. Donc, c'est des choses qui existent. Il est question pour vous de simplement prendre les soins ou les services de ces personnes qui créent les logiciels ou les applications de finances technologiques. Troisième opportunité pour vous qui êtes propriétaire d'une start-up ou d'une PME, c'est par exemple d'upgrader ou bien de donner assez de compétences à votre équipe. Et pour cela, vous avez des plateformes gratuites sur Google AI pour la formation, sur Coursera ou sur Udemy. Donc, autant c'est gratuit, autant c'est vraiment à petit prix. Donc, tout ça, c'est des choses ouvertes aujourd'hui et accessibles. Next, please. Donc, l'autre chose, c'est ici, on partage comment est-ce que les banques et les entreprises de finances technologiques se sont appropriées l'inclusion financière et permettent donc au grand public, à tout le monde de pouvoir rentrer dans le monde de la finance, de pouvoir avoir une traçabilité bancaire. On a par exemple les systèmes qui permettent d'orienter les prêts ou d'orienter l'approbation des prêts. Comme par exemple, vous pouvez dans une application ou dans votre banque, au lieu de vous demander des garanties, on peut par exemple se rassurer que c'est vous à partir de vos empreintes digitales. Il y a des logiciels, des plateformes, des applications où quand vous partez, à un moment, on va vous dire, envoyez par exemple votre GPS, on va vous dire, envoyez votre photo, on va vous dire, scannez votre pièce d'identité. Voilà autant de choses qui permettent de facilement dealer avec les banques aujourd'hui sans que il y ait, en cassant le problème de confiance, le manque d'information. Là, au moins, on est sûr que c'est vous. Il y a aussi le fait que on a digitalisé l'option de connaissance des clients, ce qu'on appelle le Know Your Customer. Donc, ce sont des options qui aujourd'hui permettent de gagner en temps. On embarque rapidement les clients lorsqu'on veut avoir des informations sur ces personnes et ça réduit le temps de traitement des dossiers. On a aussi au niveau de l'analyse des risques ou bien de, des risques et des fraudes. Aujourd'hui, les banques ont des systèmes pour protéger leurs clients des scammers, donc c'est-à-dire que des escrocs et des bandits. il y a des techniques comme par exemple la validation en 2 étapes et ainsi de suite, ou bien encore les empreintes digitales, ou bien quand une opération est suspecte, vous avez une alerte, on veut vérifier si effectivement c'est vous. Donc voilà des systèmes que les banques et les entreprises de finance et technologie ont mis en place pour vous faciliter l'accès à la finance. Et pour finir, il y a par exemple le fait que les banques ont des partenariats qu'ils ont mis en place pour faciliter que vos opérations soient faites en ligne, que vos opérations bancaires soient faites en ligne. Donc voilà autant de choses qui sont accessibles aujourd'hui pour tout le monde et voilà des éléments qui montrent que l'inclusion financière est en marche. On va toujours, Edouard.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Foko. All right. So the next thing we talk about is the opportunities that lies ahead for us as an entrepreneur, and especially towards financial inclusion and how AI can drive this, right? And one of the opportunities that lies ahead for us is the fintech startup, right, offering AI-based lending. So as an entrepreneur, so we now need to start thinking, right, of offering AI-based lending, and this would help drive a lot of financial inclusion because there are lots and lots of opportunities in this space, right? So, and I remember I was having a discussion with some of my senior colleague, and he said that, Edward, anyone that is able to tap to the excluded lending space, that person is going to be the next icon in the industry, right? So that means there are a lot of opportunities in the lending space for people that are not financially excluded. So it is our responsibility as an entrepreneur to start thinking, how can I leverage AI to offer financial services and products? There are a lot of farmers in rural areas that, if given some minimal capital, they are going to turn it to 100, they are going to increase it into 100-fold, right? But these literate farmers, or these excluded uh, part of the populations, they don't have a bank, they are not tech savvy. How can we collect some level of informal data, trade it on AI, and being able to create some level of indirect credit worthiness for them? So these are opportunities ahead for us. And like I mentioned, agri-finance is also there, whereby you are using AI to access farmers that need this facility, keeping in mind that a farmer can be well experienced. So maybe we just look into the track record of those farmers and collect those informations, collect recommendations around. And once they say, okay, this farmer has been practicing for 10 years, so automatically that person has some quality, a good work experience. And how can we leverage all this kind of informal data to build some level of financial service for them? So agri-finance is another interesting part that we can leverage AI as an entrepreneur, right? And also insurtech, whereby you build some level of predictive model for micro insurance, and also AI-powered mobile wallet, right? And I think we have a lot of innovations coming around AI powered mobile wallet, right? And the next one is the road ahead of us, right? So we have a lot of things ahead of us as entrepreneurial that can aid our decisions, and also increase the penetration of financial inclusiveness in our different countries. And one of the trends we need to watch out for is voice driven, right? Some people cannot read, some people cannot write, but everybody, like, let me say 99.9% of everybody in the world can speak, right? So what if we move into the world of voice driven banking in our local languages, whereby people interact with AI solutions in our local languages, and with that, financial services is being provided to those customers, right? Like I mentioned, AI powered micro insurance. These are future trends that we should also look into, right? And blockchain and AI for transparent SME financing, right? So for those of us that we know a bit about blockchain, right, and especially for its ability to for ability for of informations to for its ability to keep informations and for information not to get deleted on the blockchain device, right? So the now leveraging blockchain and AI will help us into financial inclusion, right? And so as an entrepreneur, our role is to adopt this very early. So don't think about it tomorrow. While on this call, while in this training, start thinking about how can I adopt some AI in my business, right? And another thing is that, which I mentioned earlier, we need to maintain good data to prove business performance. Keep your record, keep your sales information, keep your customer information. You use this to predict future occurrence, predict future performance, predict what will happen, right? And other thing is that so that you can easily scale, right? You can easily scale and make more money, impact more people, increase penetration of financial literacy or financial digital or financial footprint, collaborate with banks, fintechs to grow. So the banks, I know banks are available for you to leverage their system to scale, right? So collaborate, and this is going to help us and help us as entrepreneurial to make some smart decisions and also increase financial inclusiveness in our countries, right? And the final thing, or probably one other thing I want us to talk about is our call to action, right? Call to action. AI is Africa competitive advantage in fintech, right? So our advantage in Africa is AI. So let's leverage it. And as entrepreneurial, so entrepreneur can solve real life problem and build profitable ventures, right? See, anything you are building, any decision you want to make, any decision, ensure that you are solving a problem. And I think that is the role of we entrepreneur. Make sure you are solving a problem, regardless of the domain. Just make sure you are solving a problem and building a profitable venture, a venture that on its own can grow on its own, can scale on its own. Customers can come for it and they will be ready to pay the value placed on it. And keep in mind this, that the future belongs to those who innovate responsibly. So there are some innovation that are not responsible innovation. I can tell you for free, because there was a time we are trying to innovate and there was a solution we built, and because of that solution, I was telling the team, I said, we need to break down this solution because it's we might think it's an innovation, but it's going to impact it's going to impact our environment negatively, right? So you need to innovate responsibly. So your next step is identify your niche and plan. Not only plan, take the next action to integrate AI into your business today, right? Foco, over to you.
Donc, nous allons maintenant, before, please, one step before. Donc, nous allons maintenant partager quelques opportunités. Plus de slides, ok, non, before. Nous allons partager quelques opportunités pour les entrepreneurs en termes d'intelligence artificielle. One slide behind, please. OK, thank you. Donc, nous allons donc partager quelques opportunités entrepreneuriales qui peuvent intéresser les entrepreneurs. Donc, il y a par exemple le domaine de la fintech. Vous pouvez être une fintech, une start-up dans la finance technologique qu'on appelle les fintech. Et pour cela, donc, vous offrirez par exemple des services d'intelligence artificielle basés sur les prêts. Voilà une opportunité que vous pouvez saisir. On a par exemple aussi l'agriculture, l'agri-finance. Si vous, par exemple, vous mettez en place une plateforme qui utilise l'intelligence artificielle pour accéder aux cultivateurs qui sont dans les champs, qui sont dans les localités, qui sont dans les tréfonds du pays, c'est aussi une grosse opportunité. Il a partagé une histoire comme quoi un de ses boss lui avait dit ceci, lui avait fait une confidence en disant que elle pense ou il pense que si un entrepreneur s'intéresse à des niches inexploitées, à des personnes qui n'ont pas accès au monde de la finance, Si quelqu'un s'y intéresse sérieusement, il risque d'être un milliardaire dans les années qui vont arriver. Donc ça, c'est un document qu'il a eu à partager. Nous avons aussi l'assurance, la technologie qu'on peut appliquer à l'assurance en utilisant par exemple les prédictions pour faire des modèles de microfinance. Voilà une autre opportunité que les entrepreneurs peuvent saisir. On a aussi l'intelligence artificielle dans les téléphones mobiles à travers par exemple les portefeuilles électroniques, les portefeuilles mobiles qui peuvent être utilisés dans divers domaines. Donc voilà quelques opportunités que en tant qu'entrepreneur vous pouvez saisir et exploiter. Next please. Donc plus concrètement, voici des chemins qu'on peut explorer. On a à gauche ce qu'il faut véritablement observer et à droite ce que l'entrepreneur doit faire. Quel est le rôle de l'entrepreneur? On a comme première opportunité, par exemple, mettre en place une intelligence artificielle qui peut parler pour pouvoir adapter tout ce qui se passe à la banque. Donc, faire une intelligence artificielle orientée voice pour les banques et dans lesquels on parle par exemple les langues locales. Donc, il est question, voilà une opportunité qu'il faut observer. Il est question ici en tant qu'entrepreneur que si vous pouvez rapidement vous adapter à l'intelligence artificielle et en faire un business, ce serait une chose intéressante. Voilà une piste qu'on vous donne. Deuxième chose, par exemple, c'est de faire une intelligence artificielle pour les produits de micro-assurance. Donc, en tant qu'entrepreneur, votre rôle peut être d'aller dans ce secteur-là et de maintenir des bonnes données pour prouver la performance des entreprises. Donc, voilà une opportunité qui peut être saisie par un entrepreneur. Pour finir, on a la blockchain. Donc, les entreprises qui interviennent dans la blockchain qui permet de rendre transparent la finance des entreprises, des petites et moyennes entreprises. Vous avez des entreprises qui sont dans ce domaine-là. Alors, en tant qu'entrepreneur, quel peut être votre rôle? Vous pouvez chercher à collaborer avec ces entreprises qui sont dans la blockchain afin de pouvoir apporter des services à valeur ajoutée et faciliter leur croissance. Donc, voilà quelques chemins que vous pouvez prendre en termes d'intelligence artificielle dans le monde de la finance. Next, please. Maintenant, pour ce qui est de l'appel à l'action, alors, avec tout ce qu'on vous a dit, avec tout ce qu'on vous a dit, vous devez comprendre que l'intelligence artificielle est vraiment un avantage compétitif en Afrique pour ce qui est de la finance technologique. Vous devez savoir qu'en tant qu'entrepreneur, vous devez être capable de résoudre à temps réel des problèmes afin de bâtir des entreprises vraiment profitables. Ça, ce sont des choses que vous pouvez faire là tout de suite. Vous pouvez aussi, vous devez savoir aussi que l'avenir appartient à ceux qui vont se lancer dans l'innovation de façon responsable. Voilà des choses où il y a vraiment de l'avenir et nous vous encourageons à passer à l'action, à ne pas seulement suivre la masterclass, à vous intéresser à toutes ces choses qu'on est en train de vous expliquer. Et la prochaine étape, bien évidemment, nous vous recommandons d'identifier déjà des niches et d'intégrer l'intelligence artificielle dans votre façon de faire dès aujourd'hui. Ça permettra que la niche que vous avez identifiée, que vous soyez véritablement un axe dedans. Et on vous souhaite une bonne chance dans cette aventure. Over to you, Edward.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much, Foucault, and thank you everyone for your time on the call. Right. I don't know if there's any question, and before we call it a day, but thank you very much for your time. And I believe we've learned one or two things, what we can do as an entrepreneurial, what can be done to increase the penetration of financial literacy in our countries and being able to penetrate more the underserved, like we mentioned that there are opportunities that are bound for us, people that are currently not financially that are financially excluded, right? We mentioned into some use case of what we can build. And I think I also mentioned about solutions we can also build, right? Building micro insurance, building AI powered lending, agri finance, things as an entrepreneurial that we can innovate around. And also, I think I also mentioned around we integrating AI into our day-to-day activity, because that is how we can make some good decisions that would increase the financial inclusiveness in our countries, right? So thank you very much. So that's just a brief recap of what we've mentioned. I don't know if there's any question before we call it a day.
Yes, we
Thank
have
you.
questions on the Zoom chat. There are a
Okay.
few questions on the Zoom chat. So yeah, thank you.
All right. All right. Okay. So I think we have like 3 questions. So yeah. So the first question is that says, please provide more clarity on how AI can detect fraud. All right. So yeah. So there's something we call anomaly detection. So for every fraudulent activity, it's always going to be outside of the normal. So detecting fraud is not too difficult, provided you have all your data points. So for instance, now you have a customer that transacts probably every day, probably most of the time it transacts in the morning. And one day, the customer, you notice a transaction on that customer's platform at midnight. Automatically, that timestamp is an anomaly. Other use cases, that customer transacts, this customer, anytime you want to do a top up, the maximum top up he has ever done is say 2,000 naira for a mobile, or probably for his top up, and you discover that there was a particular day this customer is trying to top up 20,000, far above his maximum transaction. That is a basic anomaly detection. So a fraud detection is an algorithm that checks anomalies in behavioral pattern, right? And that is why when you're building a fraud detection solution, you build it around a lot of variables, especially if it is transaction based, right? Understanding patterns of what is normal and trying to understand what are patterns of the anomalies, right? And AI will help you identify these are anomaly transactions, and with that, I think you can either block the transactions, and there are a lot of use cases depending on how we are looking into it, right? There are fraud detection for insurance, right? That is wrong claim, right? All these things are function of the data available, but I can tell you 100%, when you have enough data and you train your model, you can easily identify anomaly detection, anomaly transactions, and fraudulent transactions, right? And what tools can be used, right? So there are a lot of tools, right? So, but from my own personal engagement, most of the time I train a fraud detection model on my own using Python and some algorithms for anomaly detection, right? So build the model from scratch, use the data, and build the anomaly and set it up, right? So no, there are some other enterprise solutions available for fraud detection based on the use case, right? But if you have some information, if you have some knowledge about data science, right, you can build a lightweight anomaly detection around your customer transaction. Just understand all your data, all necessary data that is needed, then you can build one, right? And the second question is that in the African context, what opportunities does AI create for improving financial inclusion for SMEs? So beautiful. So in AI, in Africa, right? See, so we have, as in African context, we have over 360 million underserved people, right? People, citizens, people around the continent that we've not tapped, or probably they are not financially included. So how AI can help us is that, how can we use informal data to make a formal decision? And that's the opportunity for us. Informal data. So example of informal data is, there's something I was working on. I call it social network as a collateral. It's an informal data. So for instance, you go to a rural area and you meet this old man asking you that, okay, please, I need access to some thousands of naira or some millions of naira, right? The person doesn't have a collateral. He doesn't have anything, but this person has some good network. Probably this person is a chief in his locality. Automatically he will run away. This person is a person that has his family around. All these are all these data points are informal data. Number of the family size, is the person staying there, is the person a title owner in that local community, for how many years has the person been farming, and the person, and you can check the history, ask questions around informal data, and they tell you that, okay, this man has been farming for over 30 years and he inherited this farmland from his father. Yes, you can partner with him. So these are informal. So as SME, we can build a lot of products, right, around this informal data, especially referrals, social network as a collateral, all this informal data, we can leverage them. And guess what? Do you know you can start building a system that will start capturing informal data. And with this data, you can now make some good informed decision as an SME. You can now start thinking about how you can build products, how you can build services, how you can build market network, transportation network, because you've been able to harness the power of informal data. And getting this done lies on the shoulder. This responsibility lies on the shoulder of SMEs and entrepreneurs in Nigeria, in Africa. And to SMEs that has existing business, right? You have an existing business. Your question is, how can I scale my business? How can I scale? And you know, most of the time, right, SMEs, you are just doing your business within your local community. You don't need to now start thinking, how can I scale? How can I open? You have a mini shop, probably the worth of the shop is just some millions of naira. The question is that, how can I use data to scale? Is there other places I can expand my network? Is there other people that need this service? You don't start need to gather the data, gather all those informal data around you. And for those of us that we are available online, yes, start gathering data, do some, you can engage probably some data scientists or any organizations that has the ability to do some level of web scraping for you. You do some web scraping, look into areas whereby you can scale your business and you can make more money. And guess what? Those rural areas, maybe you are in the city whereby your business is thriving well in the city. Do you know those rural areas that you less think of, that okay, those rural areas, they don't have social amenities? Guess what? Those guys are rich and they can afford it, right? So start thinking about those underserved. Now try to look into how you can penetrate those underserved, those rural areas. And with AI, right, like I mentioned, which is the background, is leveraging informal data to scale. I think that is the next thing, and that is a way we can scale. And I think the big part of the question is that, such as accessing bank loan for businesses. And I think for businesses now, right, I think for businesses, what your responsibility in this light is that make sure you keep your data. At least, please. I remember I was speaking on a program like some months ago, and I was talking to SMEs, and I was saying, make sure you keep track of your data, even if it is just a spreadsheet, right? That you are keeping all your transactions, such that you can approach a bank to say that, see, check my book, I've done X amount of turnovers, right? Within the last 6 months, I've been able to have X amount of turnovers. If you should give me, okay, from my turnover, I've been able, my return on investment for, let's say, 1 million naira, I've been able to get at least 10% monthly return on the investment. And you have your transaction log where you write it down and they can trace it back to your statement of account. Or probably you have an application on your phone that you use to track all these things, your invoice, when you are buying, when you are selling. You keep track of all these things, especially to SMEs. I was telling a friend of mine that has an SME, that has a business. I said, do you know all these, your inventories, your transaction history? Do you know you can take it to the bank and say, okay, analyze my transaction pattern. help me check my credit worthiness. Do you know you can take those information to any financial institution? They can analyze your transaction pattern and they can use that to estimate your a new credit worthiness for you. Not necessarily what is available probably from your account, your statement of account, but what you're able to keep as an SME, right? That can be a source of give you some level of credit worthiness in any financial institutions, right? Another thing, the last question is, he said, are there AI tools that make data analysis easier? Oh, yes. There are a lot of tools out there. I know if you should go online, I will put these questions on ChatGPT. I know ChatGPT is going to give us a couple of solutions or tools out there that can make your data analysis easier. But keep in mind, before you talk about making data analysis easier, do you have your data? If you have your data, then you talk about data analysis. So if you have your data, congratulations, that means you are one step there. All you just need to do is that just search online and look for tools available where you can just upload your data and you can just ask the tool to run the analysis for you, and it's going to help you generate some good insight. Thank you. I think is there any other question? I think there's no other question. Thank you. Foku, over to you.
Ok, thank you, Edouard. Donc, nous en sommes aux questions-réponses. Et la première question qui a été posée est celle-ci. Donc, quelqu'un a demandé comment est-ce que d'expliquer clairement comment est-ce que l'intelligence artificielle peut permettre de détecter la fraude et surtout quels sont les outils qu'on peut utiliser. Donc, ce qui se passe, c'est que généralement, les intelligences artificielles captent vos habitudes. C'est ce qu'on a appelé quelque part l'apprentissage automatique. Donc, ils captent vos habitudes, ils collectent les données. Et il se passe que si vous avez par exemple un client qui tous les jours fait des retraits de 100 000 francs, tous les jours il fait régulièrement, tous les mardis, ou bien dans tous les jours il fait des retraits de 100 000 francs. Mais un jour, vous retrouvez que ce client-là a fait la demande d'un retrait de 100 millions ou bien d'un retrait de 25 ou 30 millions. Là, ça va attirer votre attention. Donc, l'intelligence artificielle est programmée pour bloquer cette opération. Et on vérifie si effectivement la personne qui a ordonné l'opération est bel et bien le propriétaire du compte. Parce que c'est une opération inhabituelle. Il y a aussi le fait que si quelqu'un, si l'intelligence artificielle a enregistré que de façon habituelle, vous faites vos opérations en journée et qu'un jour, vers minuit ou vers 2 heures, on voit une opération qui se passe, automatiquement, ça va bloquer. Donc ça, c'est l'intelligence artificielle. Voilà comment l'intelligence artificielle peut permettre de détecter les fraudes. Parce que généralement, bien évidemment, ce n'est pas la personne en question qui est en train de faire l'opération. Et à ce moment-là, automatiquement, les choses se bloquent. Ça, c'est l'intelligence artificielle qui fait cela. Donc, les outils pour le faire, il y en a des tonnes pour pouvoir le faire qui sont sur le marché. Donc, la deuxième question, c'est dans le contexte africain, quelles sont les opportunités que l'intelligence artificielle offre et qui peuvent permettre d'améliorer l'inclusion financière des petites entreprises? Et surtout, comment accéder au crédit bancaire pour ces petites entreprises ou bien pour ces startups? Donc, en fait, vous devez savoir qu'en Afrique, on a plus de 300 millions d'Africains qui ne sont pas reconnus dans le système bancaire. Donc, il va de soi que ce nombre très élevé est une opportunité. Et il est maintenant question pour les entrepreneurs de créer des entreprises, des activités, des startups qui peuvent venir résoudre ça. Imaginez quelqu'un qui peut capter l'information informelle pour pouvoir faciliter à ce que les banques puissent prendre des décisions formelles. Donc voilà une grosse opportunité. Si vous mettez en place une intelligence artificielle ou une entreprise ou une start-up qui va collecter les informations afin de les mettre à la disposition de la banque, vous verrez que vous serez le roi du pétrole dans la mesure où toutes les banques vont courir après vous. Donc voilà l'une des réponses qu'il a apportées concernant cette problématique. Et il dit aussi que pour ce qui est de l'accès au financement, il dit que il va de soi que si vous collectez vos données, vos propres données, pour aller dans une banque les présenter avec une certaine analyse. Même sa analyse, le banquier va prendre, analyser et il verra qu'effectivement, voici vos mouvements que vous faites tous les jours, vos mouvements journaliers. La taille de vos mouvements journaliers vous permet que la banque puisse s'intéresser à vous. Ça, c'est automatique. Donc, la banque va être curieuse de vous faire confiance. Parce que si délibérément, au quotidien, vous encaissez en CFA, je ne sais pas, 4-5 millions par jour ou même par semaine, avec une traçabilité que vous seul maîtrisez. Mais tant que cette traçabilité que vous maîtrisez peut être prouvée à la banque, voilà une information informelle que la banque va prendre et utiliser pour votre cas en particulier. Et à ce moment-là, on peut vous accompagner et mettre à votre disposition le nécessaire pour que votre entreprise puisse croître. Donc, la dernière question, c'était celle de savoir, est-ce qu'il y a des outils d'intelligence artificielle qui permettent de faire l'analyse des données facilement? Bon, il a répondu, Edouard Olayemi a répondu en disant que il va de soi taper simplement sur Google ou sur ChatGPT dans une intelligence artificielle. Ça va vous donner une pléthore d'outils pour faire facilement les analyses de données. Donc, aujourd'hui, le monde est suffisamment ouvert. Quand vous avez des questions pareilles, posez-les sur le net et puis les réponses seront faciles et évidentes. OK, over to you, Edward.
All right. Thank you very much, Foku. I think that is all from me. Thank you everyone once again for your time. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you so much, Edward, for facilitating this very insightful masterclass on AI and financial inclusion. I'm sure entrepreneurs have learned a lot. I think this is the third session we've had on AI. So my guess is they are very well versed now on how to use AI to enhance their business operations. I want to extend my thanks again to Foco, who has been kind enough to help translate this session to our French audience. Thank you so much, Foco. As well, extending my thanks to Rashidat from Data Science Nigeria. And yeah, thank you again, entrepreneurs, for joining this session on AI and financial inclusion. This is the third one and the final one in this AI series. Of course, we'll be having more masterclass sessions in the future, but for anything on core AI learning, this is the third and the final one. And like I mentioned earlier, I'm very sure a lot of you will be well versed in using AI to enhance your business operations. And I really hope you had a great time joining this masterclass session. So thank you again, everyone, and have a great day ahead. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.